I'm not going to tell you what we have done. We're just going to go out there and we're going to continue to show you. We've made leaps and bounds since the spring, and we're going to continue to take leaps and bounds. So that's a goal of ours, and, we're dead set on proving that. Forget talking about it.
Just look around. You got the mountains, you got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. The old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's our
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Dauber.
And I'm the Indy Kid.
Thanks for showing up on time, Dauber. Glad to have you on board, buddy.
Man, feeding the kids.
I told Indy Kid right before we went live, I was like, I have no clue if Dauber's coming or not. I don't know. We're going live. We'll see what happens. Pop in the screen room just in time. Welcome to the show, guys. This is Talkin VAWLS live right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. We're going to briefly recap the game against Missouri. We're going to preview this Saturday's game against South Carolina. We got some listener questions. But as always, do us a favor, go ahead and smash that thumbs up. Let's get it out of the way early. Let's do it bright and early. 45 minutes before we went live, we had a thumbs down. I love you too, man. I love you too. Welcome to the show. You're welcome. But let's get it out of the way bright and early. Let's hit that thumbs up. If you're new and you're wondering what this is, we are just three dudes. We are fans just like you guys. We're not experts. We're not insiders. This is a show for the fans, by the fans. So go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell notifications. You won't miss out when we go live, when we drop new content. Let's jump into the chat. Let's see who is hanging out. Jesse Cleek is in the house, says go Vols. Jonathan Rice dropping a $2 super chat right out of the gate, says like button smashed. Go Vols, GBO VFL. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. You got a good question that we're going to get to a little bit later in the listener question. So we appreciate that super chat, Jonathan. Tim Bradley in the house also smashing that like button. James Gentry is here. Benji Smith in the house talking about black uniforms. What do you guys think? You think they break them out this week, or do you think they're going to come out for the Ole Miss game, which is now a night game? Let's just start there.
Man,
Ole Miss.
You think so?
I'm going to be one of those guys. I don't care what they play in. I'm not a traditionalist. I don't think it has. I like alternate stuff. The kids like it, the recruits like it, and that's what it's about. It's about the players. It's not about some fuddy-duddy. It has to be orange and white. That's what Tennessee. I mean, if you go back in history, Tennessee played in black uniforms. They played in gray uniforms. They used to play in baseball uniforms. Did you know that? When they first started playing football, they were wearing baseball stuff.
I think it's interesting that the UT shop put the black uniforms, the black jerseys back out this week. Makes me wonder if they're coming this week, because that they dropped before the Ole Miss game was announced as a night game. But I'm with Indy Kid. Let's do it for Ole Miss. The last time they wore them, Lane Kiffin was the head coach. Lane Kiffin comes back into Knoxville. What better time? A night game, Neyland Stadium. Let's do it. And I hope it's all black. I hope it's black pants, jerseys, and helmets. Let's do it.
I'm trying to think. Didn't they wear orange pants with the black the last time?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'd like to see all black. I mean, I honestly, I don't care. They can go white or orange. Either way. I hope they break them out. And I'm like you. I think the timing's really interesting with that.
Let me hit this other super chat here. Evan Counts for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, man, I get just as excited to watch Talkin VAWLS live as I do for a game. Y'all need to be live on set in Knoxville for all games and broadcasted. Go ahead and let the Vol Network know. I'm sure they can get us on the payroll. We can all quit our jobs. And we'll just move to Knoxville. Why not? Sounds fun to me. Thank you for the super chat. So Robert, 45 Tennessee with 5. Thank you for that. Just wanted to point out that the 10th best passing offense is going up against the 26th best defense. I think Tennessee takes care of business Saturday. We'll get into that as we move forward in the show. Lot to talk about tonight. Lot to talk about. I was telling the Indy kid before Dauber jumped in here and before we went live, Alex Golesh had a really good press conference today. And I'm down to play it and kind of pause it. We've not done that in a while. Some of you guys like it. Some of you don't. If you want us to play the Alex Golesh press conference on air and provide commentary over it, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2. We're going to let you guys make the decision. It is totally up to the chat. So if you want us to play that, we'll do it a little bit later. But I want to kind of get a finger on the pulse of what you guys want. So if you want that press conference, just type a number 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a number 2. And we'll see what you guys want to do. Joshua Harmon for 10. That's a big time super chat. Thank you for that. Says, not saying I called it last week, but I sure did with the 300 yards rushing. I'm calling it now. We are dropping at least 40 against South Carolina, and we have a top 25 matchup against Ole Miss. I guess let's start there. Do you guys think that hanging 60-plus points on Missouri has given this fan base a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of cockiness? You think it's deserved? Tip of the iceberg, right, Indy kid?
Tip of the freaking iceberg of what they want to do. Yeah, I think so. I think it was I think it was a big confidence booster for everyone to see that. And I think this program not only needed a win, I think it needed a dominating win like that against an SEC team other than Vanderbilt. And, I'm excited about it. Like you said, man, I don't know if it's borderline cocky. I mean, let's just say the Indy kid's been chirping already this week down here in Gamecock country. So I'm hoping they'll back me up this weekend. I see people putting about South Carolina's 26th ranked defense. Who've they played? I mean, who've they played? They played Georgia, and Georgia put 40 on them.
The only thing that concerns me is Kentucky.
Else.
They played Kentucky, and I think it was 17. I think they held Kentucky to 17. But their offense
Kentucky's offense is nothing like Tennessee's.
Yeah, and South Carolina's offense does not scare me at all. At all. I feel like Tennessee's defense can shut them down. What does scare me about South Carolina's defense, though, is they do force turnovers. So Tennessee's going to have to protect the ball. They're going to have to – look, you got to play clean football. We saw last week, again, tip of the iceberg, what this offense can be if you play clean football, Dauber.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said that from the beginning of the season on. And it showed in the Pitt game, showed in the Florida game. And then we see last week what happens when you don't turn the ball over, when you are doing things at a high rate of success, and you see the elimination of the drop passes and the bad overthrows. We saw a quarterback that played very efficiently, and that's something that hasn't been in Knoxville for the last multiple seasons. Moving forward, I think we saw, like we said, tip of the iceberg for putting together a complete game, all phases of the ball. And I liked the staff coming out, Sunday, Monday saying, hey, yeah, we did some good things, but there's still things to work on. There are things to improve. We need to get better.
You talk about quarterback efficiency. Do you guys know where Hendon Hooker ranks? Not in the SEC, in all of college football when it comes to quarterback efficiency. Anybody want to take a wild guess?
This is see what I put up?
Oh, sorry. I had the numbers in front of me. Yeah, number five in all of college football. He's playing really, really good football. We talked about how he needs to manage the game. He is doing so much more than that. He is playing really good football. Hendon Hooker, they changed it on the depth chart. He's now QB1, not even a question. We all knew that. But we saw against Missouri what this offense can be when it's firing on all cylinders. And I think we're seeing Hendon Hooker improve getting those first team reps. You know, I thought he looked good against Florida. Obviously, he looked good last week against Missouri. There's no reason why Tennessee can't go out and just put a beat down on South Carolina. And I talked about it a little bit on a video I made this morning, talking about a lot of people calling this a trap game. And I get it. You know, you just hung 60 on an SEC opponent. You come out, you're favored by 12 against South Carolina, and you got that Ole Miss game just kind of hanging in the background. I can see this being a trap game, but at the same time, there's no reason why Tennessee can't just go out and absolutely put a beating on South Carolina on Saturday.
Nope, I agree, and I think they will. I don't expect 62 again, but I don't think South Carolina, their offense doesn't scare me at all. And I think Tennessee has a much better offense than Kentucky. So I expect some point. I expect Tennessee covers this week. And I don't think it's cocky. I just think Tennessee's better than South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina's very good. They got a new coach as well. I just think Tennessee has more talent, and I think their offense will cause South Carolina lots of problems.
John Hill with a $20 super chat. That ain't cheap. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. It says 35-21 Tennessee, 150 yards plus rushing. Let's go Big Orange. I'm down with that, John Hill, but thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. What has surprised you guys to this point? They talked about this a little bit on the VolQuest podcast this morning. I thought it was a good talking point, so I thought I would kind of get your feedback on it. Dauber, we'll start with you. What about this football team has surprised you through 5 games? Is it the rushing defense, who, if you throw out that Florida game and what Emory Jones did, they have allowed less than 60 yards rushing per game when you throw out that Florida game? Does that surprise you more, what they've done on the defensive side of the ball? Are you surprised about Hendon Hooker, the ability to run the football? What stands out to you, whether it's a position group or you can go specific player? However you guys want to put a spin on this?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that rush defense. That was something that in my mind, I really felt this team was going to score points. That's what Heupel's offense and schemes are designed to do. Score points, score quick, score often. And I knew there was going to be a lot of pressure on the defense, a lot of pressure and being on the field a lot potentially. To this point, we've seen really stout defensive play. The one thing I would like to see a little bit more of is pressure on the quarterback, particularly from the defensive front. The linebacker play has been, pretty well going into the season. That was a question, considering our most notable returning linebacker is a converted running back. We've talked a little bit about the back end and how there's plenty of talent, but it might be beneficial to see some other guys pushing for some playing time, just to make sure that we've got the best, guys out there at corner and safety, and depth. Depth was a big question for me defensively, and they've really kind of answered the bell on that. I've been pretty impressed, and especially with the run defense.
I'm going to go with Chuck Hickey here. Tim Banks' most pleasant surprise. When he came in, we're talking about, this is a guy that, he's been co-defensive coordinator. We really didn't know what we were going to get. He's been really good, man. And when you look at the number of points they've given up, you have to always put that big asterisk beside it, right? Because the way Josh Heupel runs this offense, the defense is going to be on the field more. And, we're going to play the Alex Golesh press conference here in just a little bit. Tim Banks met with the media today too. And I liked what he said, because they asked him about that. Does it put more pressure on you because this offense goes so fast? He's like, I don't really think about it. All I think about is when we're on the field, we have a job to do and we look to do it. I don't care how long we're on the field or how many times we're on the field. We're out there to do a job. I love this coaching staff in general. But what about you, any surprises? What stands out for you this season so far?
This is going to surprise you, but it's funny you just highlighted that. The linebackers, I think that, I mean, they have been serviceable this year. They've not been that bad, and we keep seeing them improve every week. So Brian Jean-Marie is earning his money as the linebackers coach. When Mitchell's played, he's not been bad. I don't think he's been – I think maybe he was a bit overhyped coming in, but he's not been bad. But, I mean, Banks he's improved this year. The thing with Jeremy Banks is, does he slow up and not get that 15-yard bonehead penalty? Solomon Page, Aaron Beasley, those guys have improved. I've been pleasantly surprised by them. Now, yeah, they could withstand to be better, but that was probably the one unit that I think everybody was the most concerned about. And, I mean, based on what we thought they were going to do versus what they're doing, I think it's been a nice surprise so far. And I would even go as far to, we've not seen much out of the tight ends in a couple of years. I feel the tight ends, they weren't used as much last week, but like Jacob Warren, he's looked good this year. And I don't think a lot of people expected that.
I think these coaches, and I don't want this to come off like I'm insulting the players, they're getting more with less. You know what I mean? Like, look, and this was, again, something they kind of talked about a little bit on the VolQuest podcast this morning. Name somebody on the defensive line unit that's going to play in the NFL. Name somebody in that linebacking group that's going to play in the NFL. But they are getting more out of those guys than we expected. And especially the linebackers. I'm with you, Indy Kid. Especially Beasley, man. That's a guy, in the offseason, we were kind of talking about, would Aaron Willis be that guy that stepped up and was getting playing time? And then Juwan Mitchell comes in, and you're expecting more from him, but you're maybe getting a little bit less. And I'm wondering if Beasley starts pushing Mitchell for that starting job. Beasley's the guy. Like, I get you. I'm with you. I think Jeremy Banks is playing good football right now. Beasley's playing really good football too, man. He is all over the field. He's flying and it goes back to Tim Banks. This Tim Banks defense allows guys to play loose and fast, and I like it. I love this coaching staff, man. I love to hear them talk. I love the results they're getting on the field. Dabra, I see what you got there. We'll get it in just a second here. John W. Bell the fourth, thank you for the super chat. Says, "Trust me, we got the hookup." Is that some insider information, Mr. Bell? Is that some insider information that you're dropping right here on the Talkin Vols Network? Good to see you in the chat. Hope Trinity is doing well. Hope he's healing. He's got to be getting close, man. Trinity Bell's got to be getting close. To indicate you talk about the tight ends. Trinity Bell's a kid that can he can contribute once he gets healthy. That's a kid that could thrive in this offense.
And that's a position that that Heupel likes to use. So, man, it'll be good to get some more athleticism and skill and use that to an advantage, especially inside the red zone.
So I will go back to a point real quick. So you said the VolQuest guys said nobody on the line. Are they talking about seniors or in general?
I don't know that they necessarily clarified, because when you look at the underclassmen, they got a long way to go to develop. And, Tyler Barron could very well end up in the NFL.
Tyler Barron's playing in the NFL.
I think I saw something along the lines of that as well. And I think they were saying Pro Bowl or anybody like that. I think they said some guys will probably play on Sundays, but it's not a roster chock full of, guys that are going to be marquee NFL players.
I don't even know about Pro Bowl. Like, name, rattle them off, Indy Kid. Like, I agree. I think Tyler Barron, he's a stud. Byron Young still has to prove it. And, that's something else that Tim Banks talked about today is he's doing everything the right way, and him missing those first two games. What you got to realize is when BY missed those first two games, he's also losing reps in practice, right? So that sets his development back a couple of weeks because you got to get somebody else ready to go. There's some talent on that defensive line, sure, but I don't know that they got a whole lot of NFL guys.
I wouldn't
Caleb
count
Tremblay,
Butler
maybe.
out. Matthew Butler will play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yep.
And here's the thing. You look at the core of this team, you look at the majority of the players, they're from a team that won 3 games last year. We've got some guys that have come in and they're making an impact, but the majority of this group, like you said, Boogie, Coach Heupel and this staff, they're getting more from less. And in fact, look at the guys that left the team from last year that won 3 games. So that's something to look at. And I think it points directly to this staff and how it is a group of coaches that are coaching, that are getting the most out of these players.
Let me get caught up on these super chats here real quick. I lost it. There it is. Country Black for 5. Thank you for the super chat, especially from the Indie Kid. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to thank you for this, but he says Indie Kid needs his own 1-hour podcast called Put Your Foot on Their Throat. I could listen to him all day. Let me just go ahead and let you know. A little inside baseball. He gets real boring. The more he talks, I don't know that you want that. But now he's got this big head. He's going to be demanding a pay raise. It's going to be a prop. Thank you, Country Black. Your $5 has created hours and hours of meetings and behind-the-scenes controversy here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. But we appreciate that super chat. And you can tune in to the day after and hear all Indie Kid all day. Maybe the next one he sends me is going to be an hour long now, thanks to you. But we appreciate that super chat. Mr. Bubbalo for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says these coaches actually coach, unlike the last staff. That's it's funny. Daubert saying this is a team that went 3-7 last year. Compare the offensive stats alone, and I know Josh Heupel's an offensive guy. They go fast. They're going to put up bigger numbers, but it's insane. Like the numbers compared for a full 10-game season. Yes, all SEC, whatever, but it doesn't matter. They're already putting up more numbers through 5 games than they did the entire season last year. Sonny Rayburn for 5. I'm 20 and haven't seen what my dad saw in the 90s, but this coaching staff has got my attention. I think we will do well. Go Big Orange. That makes me feel old, Sonny. It makes me feel really old. But we appreciate that super chat. But yeah, I love this coaching staff. I dig it. I love it. Let's see here. Oh, I got a fan question here. This is a good one. This is from Daniel Bergner on the Facebook group. And if you want to join the Facebook group, just go to Facebook, search Talkin VAWLS under groups. It'll pop right up. We'll get you added. Good conversation throughout the week. Sometimes people yell at each other. It's Facebook. It's the world we live in. But there's some good interaction as well. Daniel, this is a good question. He says, let's say Tennessee KOs South Carolina in the same manner as Missouri. How would you rate Tennessee's chances at finishing 8-4, less than even, better than even? And I'm going to add a little something else on this because we pull up the schedule every single week. It seems like every show we do this right here. We throw the schedule up on the screen and we talk about how can this football team get to 6 wins. So let's talk about it. If Tennessee goes out and they boat race South Carolina, they put an absolute beating on them. What's your confidence level, Indy Kid, going into Ole Miss? And then I'm going to follow it up 2-part question. So don't let me throw too much on you and you kind of lose track here. What's your confidence level going into Ole Miss? And then on top of that, at what point do you start to believe that Josh Heupel is the guy? Because I think we all like this coaching staff right now. But if he goes out and let's say he beats Ole Miss, do you tell yourself, okay, I think Josh Heupel may be the guy? Or are there only 2 games on the schedule that will make you say that, Alabama and Georgia?
No, I'm not worried about Alabama and Georgia just because I honestly think Alabama and Georgia is the cream of the crop in the whole country. That's asking a bit much. I mean, if they play them competitive, that's just icing on the cake. But Yeah, if they start by beating Ole Miss, by beating Kentucky, finish off South Alabama and Vanderbilt, if they were to do that, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And yeah, there's times I've griped this year about things, but that's just part of, a lot of people don't realize I actually coach football, not near it at that level, but that's the coach in me. It's never happy with things, especially when you work on them, and then you see that in mistakes. But anyway, back to the point on it. I'm already believing a little bit with Ole Miss. I don't know about beating them. I still think it's going to be a tall task, but I definitely think that's going to be an interesting game. I don't care if Kentucky beat Florida or not. I think Tennessee's got a real shot to go beat Kentucky. I just don't think Kentucky's offense can do anything like Tennessee's offense can. And maybe Kentucky's defense is better, and I'm not giving them enough credit. And I know they do have a good defense, but that's the one I think is more possible than Ole Miss. I think Kentucky is more possible than Ole Miss.
What about you, Dauber? What if Tennessee goes out and they put a beating on South Carolina? Is it going to be a little upset special next Tuesday when we're making predictions?
Man, here's the thing. I don't think anything they do this year is going to make me say Heupel is the man. Heupel is the guy. Because here's the plain and simple fact. Heupel is the man. He is the coach. He is the guy right now. So we've already said this is it's going to take 3, 4, 5 years to get a cycle of his guys that fit his system through. I mean, you're seeing signs. And the thing for me, as long as we continue to see signs, we don't, plateau and just kind of stay the course. We keep improving. We keep playing, keep playing competitively, and we win the games we're supposed to win. And then you close the gap. I know Pruitt was talking about closing the gap, and the scores kept getting wider and wider against the big three, and that can't happen.
That's what I love about this staff, man. Like that, and I don't know, maybe I'm just buying in too early. I don't feel like they're selling us a bunch of BS. They've never come in and they've not made excuses, and they've not talked about, well, we got to get our guys in here. They are making the best out of what they've got.
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
not making excuses.
Well, but they're coaching and developing what they have and using what is there, and not waiting on a change to come and their guys, because we've had some people in the chat say there is talent in Knoxville, and I think we saw a lack of development and a lack of the previous coaching staff putting guys in positions to succeed last couple of seasons. But if the Vols come out Saturday and lay it to South Carolina, I think for me that there will be momentum and enough positivity heading into that night game in Knoxville against Ole Miss. It would be similar to the momentum that the team would have carried to Gainesville had they beat Pitt and gone 3-0 heading down there.
They put a beating on South Carolina. All three of us are picking them to beat Ole Miss. It's going to happen.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they beat Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is a year ahead of them in the process, but
they can
make no mistake about it. Old Lane boy down there can still. I think he's matured and he's a better coach, but he's not above being a bonehead. Still, yeah.
Did you see his comments before the Alabama game?
Exactly. He's not.
But I loved it. I loved it. I love that confidence, man. You're getting ready to play the best team in the country, and get your popcorn ready. Rip that headset off. I know a lot of people are pissed about it. I love it.
I don't.
That's why I loved Lane Kiffin when he came to Tennessee, because he talked about singing Rocky Top in the swamp. What would you rather have, a guy making excuses or a guy that says we're going to go get it done?
Well, and that's something I think people are liking about this current staff is, like I said, no excuses. But I mean, you can see in the way they're playing, man. they're going out there to win. You know,
Well, and they're not
aggressive.
the games they haven't won is not from lack of trying, unlike previous staffs who just wanted to sit on the ball and play not to win. They're playing to win,
and they're not folding it in and giving up either.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're playing. I mean, you seen it at Florida. They had a game plan to go down there to try to win. It just mistakes caught up with them, and I think Florida's talent caught up. Florida had more talent when it was all said and done. But yeah, man, it's exciting, and for Country Black, it's nice to see a coach who'll come in and put his foot on their freaking throats, and won't let them off of it.
Fourth down, doesn't care what the score is. He's going for it. I love it too. John Hill for 5. Thank you for the super chat. It says cornbread, the buttermilk has spoiled. This coaching staff is for real. Let's go Big Orange. I want to see this coaching staff get their players in place because I think they are out coaching other coaching staff. So what can they do with more talent? Country Black spits in the face of the indie kid, drops a $20 bill and says, my bad, here is 20 just for you, Boogie. You're still the man. I appreciate that. The meetings will be way easier now. Thank you for that, Country Black. Very generous. We appreciate it. Robert 45 Tennessee for 5 says, imagine if Heupel can get his defensive players he is once along with his players on offense. He is doing good with just 71 scholarship players. I agree. Yeah, let's see what happens when he gets his talent in place. A lot of that, you got to see what happens with the investigation. Let's see what he does in the transfer portal. I think that is going to be key this offseason. Evan counts for 5. Thank you, Evan. Says the way Tennessee keeps getting better and better every week, anything is possible. Yes, we are seeing progression. We are seeing teaching. We are seeing development of talent for the first time in a long time. Steve Truitt for 5 says to accomplish even 6 wins, Hooker must remain healthy. Yes, absolutely huge for this football team is Hendon Hooker has to stay healthy. Xavier Sanders for 5. Thank you. Xavier says, I think we can hang with Ole Miss, even though they played Bama. I don't know if we will beat them, but we can hang. Also, I want to see the black jerseys. Look at that segue, Dauber. Man. Xavier just doing the work for us. Dauber's got it queued up. He's been waiting for 20 minutes.
I wasn't quick enough earlier. So Chad Fields on Twitter, he is kind of the uniform guy and posts some pretty cool stuff normally. He threw this up, kind of a mock-up of what the uniform looks like. And here is what I've seen and what he's seen, rumors of the helmets. It's going to be the white helmet, but it's going to have black outlines and a black face mask. So
yeah, I saw that.
Cool.
I saw that somewhere today too. It looks good. I would much rather have the black helmets. I think somebody said it in the chat earlier. Matte black helmets with the power tee would it looks so sick.
I've seen some rumors on that too, that they had tried to order some and supply issues and stuff like that has kind of thrown a wrench in that. So, if man, I don't know. I think solid black would be pretty sweet though.
So do you guys think they're going to break them out for Ole Miss? I just wonder if it was one of those deals that they didn't know what the schedule was going to be for Ole Miss, so they wanted to bring them out for South Carolina. It's got to be one of the next 2 weeks. When you look at the schedule, it's got to be one of the next 2 games.
I think just looking at Danny White, you look at this athletic director and how it's all about entertainment and it's all about delivering, excitement and bringing that. I think I think you hold it for a primetime night game, especially if you can win Saturday. Just the buzz around it'll be electric. I mean, we've got to take care of business this week first. It's a noon kick for South Carolina. I don't think it's supposed to be super hot, but why would you want to wear black uniforms middle of the day?
They're serving it. They're saving it for Ole Miss. I can't see. I don't think when's your crowd going to be more hyped up, for South Carolina or for Kiffin and Ole Miss?
Yeah.
At 7:30 versus 12. That's a no-brainer.
You guys think the Eli and Peyton are going to do the commentary on it? You think they can make that happen?
I doubt it.
That'd be pretty sweet, but
puts a lot of eyes on the program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a perfect storm, too. Why not? Eli on
I
there
hope they do.
Ole Miss,
I think it'd be
Peyton
cool.
on there representing Tennessee. It's a perfect opportunity. I've even seen people, throwing it out there that maybe game day comes to Knoxville because Lane returns to the Hill as a head coach to take on Tennessee. Black uniforms at night. We're jumping ahead of ourselves.
They're not game day. Yeah, game day won't be there. I can't see that.
It's sad, man, because I loved waking up on Saturdays. I loved watching game day, seeing what they had to say. They don't even talk about Tennessee anymore, like ever. They don't even mention them. They don't pick their games. It's sad. It's sad. Let me say this. We got over 300 people watching live, which is great. That is fantastic for a Tuesday night show. Do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up just below the video. We got 140 thumbs up. Let's get it to like 200. You guys think you can get it to 200? We would greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel. What it does, it plays the analytics. It sends this video to more people. You can also hit share. Hit that share button. Share out the link on Facebook, on Twitter. Tell somebody that Talkin VAWLS is live. This show is yours as much as it is ours. We appreciate all the support. But if you would just hit that thumbs up and share it out, we would greatly appreciate it. Somebody just hit thumbs down because I said that. I don't know if you've been here for 25, 30 minutes and you just hit thumbs down because I'm talking about it. I'll pray for you this week. You live a sad, sad life. Let's get the Alex Golesh press conference shared up. This is really, really good. And I think, I let you guys vote on it earlier. Everybody said they wanted to hear it. So I think this will be good. You guys know the deal. Let me know if you want me to pause it. I'll pause it. We'll provide commentary. Guys in the chat, thank you, Fallout Zone. Nobody knows what this means except for you, but hashtag Comicsgate. If you guys want me to pause it, just let me know. If you guys in the chat want to drop a comment. We'll hit as many as we can, but let's get into it. This is really good interview. I really dig it.
Start again with that.
And we look at a number of ways to sort of measure y'all's efficiency, plays per minute, how short the scoring drives are. I'm curious how you guys gauge how efficient your tempo is.
Yeah, I felt like last week, those first couple of drives was really the first time it looked like what it should look like. You can see when you go back and watch it on film, in the course of the game, it's hard. You can see the ball's not getting snapped as fast as you want it, but you can look and see if the defense is lined up, it's not getting snapped as fast as you want it. That's where it's easy to see it on film. We want to get the thing snapped as fast as we can, obviously without sacrificing our integrity of how we play, being sound technically, being aligned correctly, and obviously preventing pre-snap penalties. That cost us a little bit early in the season. I felt like this week was the first time we were able to be efficient, eliminating the pre-snap penalties. You're trying to use it to your advantage rather than to your disadvantage. And I'm stating the obvious there, but this week was the first time I thought early in the game it looked like what it should look like in terms of us being able to use it to an advantage, both in the run game and pass game.
I think it's interesting right there, him talking about, speed of play, getting up to the line, getting the ball snapped. Hendon Hooker's not been getting those first-team reps, right? He takes over once Milton goes down, and now we've seen that speed start to pick up week in and week out. And I think that's got to play a factor. But any comments on that?
I mean, you saw it a little bit against Florida in that first half. They had Florida off balance, but it seemed like they slowed down a lot. Yeah, I agree with what he said on it about their speed. I actually thought Milton went pretty quick earlier in the year when he was in, but that's obviously a whole other topic. But yeah, they went fast this week, and it was nonstop, pedal to the metal.
But again,
I see what he's saying.
You wonder with Milton, was it because he was taking those first team reps? Yeah. And so now you're seeing Hendon Hooker kind of getting a groove. Country Black here with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. It says, is Hyatt still on the team? Doesn't seem himself since the injury. And that's something that Golesh gets into here in just a little bit as well. And talking about, your top 11, 12, 13 guys and figuring out who belongs on the field and who's doing things the right way and who is understanding what they want to do. So Country Black, we'll let Golesh kind of get into that, and then we'll make comments on that as well.
Are you seeing defenders look around? How are you gauging that they are ready?
Just are the D linemen hands in the ground? Are their cleats in the ground? Are they set? Are they able to read the keys that they're supposed to read? Or does it look semi-chaotic? So I don't. There's not really a scientific way you could look at it too and say they don't look lined up.
I'm assuming it's clocking for you guys too.
Yeah.
What in the? Come on, man.
Alex, I've been with Hendon and
Stream 85 plus channels and save up to $500 a year with YouTube TV. Try it free.
This is going great.
If you live in a qualified zip
this
code, you may be eligible to receive USA-made solar panels for no cost at install.
Jeez, oh Pete.
I don't know about surprise. I thought through spring and through camp there was a calm demeanor about him. There was a sense of collectedness, a sense of maturity. Good or bad, whatever happened, the response was always the same. It's really exactly what you want from a player. It's I think what players want from us as coaches, be the same guy every day. That's what Hendon is. He is really been efficient in how he's played. He's been able to hand the ball off when he's supposed to. He's been able to throw the ball when he's supposed to. He's given us a really good element in the run game in terms of him being able to run the ball. What you didn't know through spring and summer, because they're in a red jersey, you can't hit them, is how tough he is. He is a certifiable dude in terms.
Do you guys not think that is a huge point for Hendon Hooker when you're looking at what he's doing on the field? And Indicate, I think you may have even talked about it a little bit, his ability to make plays out in the open field. And when you're in practice, when you're in the orange and white game, when you're in spring camp, you don't get to see that because you got a no contact jersey on.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, he creates. He just jobs with this offense. It's just, like I said, you can tell he's getting more first team reps, and he's starting to gel with that line. It's a big deal. Milton can scramble too, but the difference is Hooker is much more efficient throwing the ball, and that's a big difference. That's what we want to see, is a quarterback who's efficient with the football. And he easily could have been 17 out of 19 this past week. Should have had more yards and catches against Florida. He's doing a nice job for sure.
Yeah, he's been efficient and consistent, and that's the key. He was a little loose with the football running when he first took over for Milton. Coughed it up a couple times, but he's cleaned that up. And like you said, he's gelling. He is kind of hitting his stride, and I think fitting in this offense now. He's found a rhythm, and I like what they've done early in the games to kind of get him going. I said that's what they needed to do with Milton. Stop calling the deep ball right out the gate. Set him up with some short to intermediate passes to get him rolling and get the offense clicking. And I think they've done that with Hooker, and they've kind of eased him into it. And we've seen the playbook start opening up for him now. And, you lighten up the scoreboard now. So
John London for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, I wouldn't even mind having the SEC network for the Ole Miss Tennessee game. then at least we'd get Marty and McGee.
It is SEC Network, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think he's talking about the
Pre-game.
pregame.
Oh, the SEC Nation.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Again, as sad as game day is, even SEC Nation doesn't really spend any time talking about Tennessee. But
got to win.
Yep, winning cures all, right? It's when you get the 3:30 and the night games. Just win, baby.
Of toughness. He runs the ball extremely hard. Sometimes if you ask Joey, needs to be smarter in how he's finishing runs. I think from the outside looking in, it's awesome, but he's also diving headfirst sometimes and like a little bit chaotic there. That's your quarterback on the ground. But I think he brings a spark, and the way he plays, everybody else around him sees that, and they feed off of him. So I've been really, really proud of the way he's taking care of the football. That's job number one for a quarterback, take care of the football. And then in terms of timing, ball placement, efficiency, I feel like he's been really, really sound in what he's done. I think more than anything for us moving forward, there was a question about the tempo. I think it's him being comfortable snapping that football as fast as we need him to. I don't know the first couple of weeks that he did that. I felt like this last week he did. Again, this last week we were efficient on first down. So for him, it was easy. You were confident getting up there. When you're running the ball efficiently and playing in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, makes it easier to snap the ball and make fast decisions. I was more proud, honestly, the week before at Florida, where he made really good decisions in tough third down situations, taking care of the football, getting it to the right spots. That to me, in a hostile environment where it was chaotic and there was adversity on every single drive where you saw him kind of flash, listen, this is the same guy on every single drive. And then we got down in the fourth quarter and it was still the same guy on every single drive. And when you know what you're going to get from your quarterback, it makes it really, really simple in terms of, he's going to execute the play to the best of his ability and it's going to go to the right spot, which makes it really simple from our end.
I love Alex Golesh. I love Tim Banks too, but I love Alex Golesh and Swamp Donkey Sniper, which I love that name. This dude is intelligent. How many coaches would be coming off of a 60-point outing and go back to a loss where you scored 14 points to point out positives of what your quarterback did in that game, right? I love Alex Golesh. I think he is a great coach. And I don't know, man, there's just something about him going back to that Florida game and saying, hey, I get it. We scored over 60 points in this game and everybody's all excited, but I like what he did in the Florida game because of the circumstances, 3rd and long, tough situations, making the right reads, making the right throws. It says something about him as a coach and Hendon Hooker as a player.
I think it shows this staff and their attitude towards coaching. And, it is a good point to bring up. Yeah, you did a lot of things good against Missouri, but look at what you did against Florida in a loss, and look at how you did it there in the environment that you did it in. Yeah, I mean that's great coaching right there.
Brent and Wes.
Apparently, all of a sudden, my internet works now.
Always said this offense, you kind of.
Never mind.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm often asked what supplement.
What supplement you use? Is that what you're going to say?
Lord have mercy.
5 games in, have you guys dialed in the identity and kind of everybody's role?
Can I take this time just to plug our channel? Just to plug our channel. Like, this is coming from Rocky Top Insider. VolQuest is the same way. They put ads every 3 minutes on their videos. You don't get that on the Talkin VAWLS network. We put an ad at the beginning and an ad at the end, and that's it. Enjoy the content. I'm not going to throw an ad at you every 3 minutes. Drives me nuts. I know it drives y'all nuts. You're welcome. A little plug for the Talkin VAWLS network.
We've seen that the last couple of weeks compared to the first 2 or 3 weeks. I'm sure there was some filling out process of what guys could do what.
Yeah, dead on. Really, really good question. I think through camp for us, we had a bunch of guys banged up on
killed
and
my
off,
internet
Bayless
with that
being
commercial.
one of them. And you couldn't place them. You had new guys in Joe and Javante Payton that you were trying to figure out what they were, who they were.
Sorry.
You had Jalen Hyatt, who was banged up the entire spring. You had Tyon Evans, who was banged up the entire spring. And so you were trying to feel those guys out. And yes, it took us a minute to get to who are really our best 11, then who's 12, then who's 13, and who's 14, and who are package guys, who are guys you can go to with certain things, both in the run game and pass game. I think in any evolution of a program, of an offense, you figure out who those pieces are, who you need to keep involved, who needs to keep growing and needs more time to keep evolving and developing. I feel like we're closer to honing in on it. I feel like we're playing this last week, the week prior, primarily this last week, we're playing with who we think gives us the best chance to win, and we have a good feel for who their backups are and what those roles are for those guys starting to evolve. I think it's hard when you start getting guys banged up and now guys have to fill in. You're kind of shuffling pieces, O-line being one of them, where you're trying to figure out who really that sixth guy is. And to be honest with you, a lot of time you don't find out until you're in the thick of the storm and you see how guys respond and how guys react to adverse situations. And yeah, it's taken us some time to figure it out. I feel like we're close to figuring it out, and we need to be, because right now we're right in the thick of it and we're conference play, and we got to be at our best, obviously Saturdays. So as injuries happen, you got to adjust, but I feel like we're getting really close to figuring out who we can really count on offensively.
Once again, I love the transparency, talking about, this staff just got here. They're still trying to figure out who those top 11 guys are. He's talking about the offensive line, who those top 6 guys are. And he's talking about you start to learn that once you get into the fire, right? You're getting trial by fire. And this coaching staff openly admitting what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out who gives them the best chance to win. And you're 5 games into the season, whereas we didn't get that before. We just got stuff about how complex the scheme was and how freshmen couldn't comprehend it. You didn't get any real, authenticity, I guess.
Well, you hit exactly what I kind of got a little frustrated with some of the comments post-game Saturday. It's a 5th game for this staff, for this team, and this system. So, like Coach said there, they're still trying to find the best 11 to put out on the field. They're still trying to find the best guys to be backing them up. You look at the quarterback situation. Milton was the guy. Milton was taking the majority of the first team reps, and he went down. And then Hooker came in, and there was obviously a drop off at that point, but I think it was due to the lack of snaps that he was taking. And now I think, like Indy Kid and I were talking about earlier, I think Hooker has found his stride. He's gelling with the offense. Things are clicking, and he's getting on the same page with those receivers who he's now throwing more balls to in practice, and things are just clicking.
Indy Kid, you got nothing?
Nope.
Evan Counts for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, should we be looking for some recruiting news if Tennessee beats up on Carolina? I'm going to make you talk, Indy Kid. What are your thoughts on that? When do we start to see, or do we start to see any momentum in the recruiting game if this offense continues to put up 60 points on SEC opponents?
I think things are about to pick up because they've not had any visitors for any of the first couple of home games. Not official, not even really 2022 guys, but there's supposed to be some guys in town this weekend, some of their targets. And then I think Ole Miss, they'll have a nice group. And from what I'm reading, I think Walter Nolan may be there unofficially that weekend. Somebody made mention of it earlier, talking about recruiting. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Trent Dilfer spoke at the quarterback club on Monday, and he said that he had a lot of praise for what Heupel did, for what Heupel's doing. He said that these guys are doing it better than anyone in the country right now. I don't know if he's just, hyping up the people at the quarterback club or what, but he went into detail about how everything's not just football. They're building those relationships. So, it was some high praise, and that's a guy, because he said that Tennessee's recruiting about 4 or 5 of his guys right now for 23 and 24. So that's a nice compliment to go as well. You win. If you win next 2 weeks, things are going to start to pick up a little bit. But, they're still hampered by this freaking NCAA crap that keeps dragging on and on. I think that's going to be over their head. I think they'll make some strides in the next couple of weeks, but until that NCAA crap's blown over, I think it's still going to hurt them at that point, or up till that point.
Yeah, because it's so easy to be negatively impacted in the recruiting. Have other coaches come in and say, "Man, there's so much going on down there. You don't want to go there." So it's an easy thing for the negative recruiting.
It's why I think the transfer portal is going to be so crucial for this upcoming season. And it was for this past off season too. It was huge. And I think it gives Josh Heupel an opportunity to go and pick guys up in the portal. And so hopefully
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a lot of their top-notch recruiting is going to come on down the line. I think this year, you had the cloud over the program with the NCAA stuff. You got to think of when they took over as well. They took over behind the 8 ball. A lot of teams have built these relationships. Look at in-state. They've almost whiffed on the top 15 in-state. And, I don't know that you can blame them a whole lot. A lot of kids didn't give them a chance. They'd already formed their relationships. They've done they haven't gotten many guys within the state, but man, they made up some ground on some guys as well. I wonder if it'll come back around, but I've said it before. I go all in on Walter Nolan, which I'm pretty sure they're doing. There's other guys they may do that as well, but this year, maybe next year, not so much. This is another big portal year because you're still going to lose. You're going to lose some important guys this year that need replacing. And, I don't know that freshmen answer that call for next year.
Yep.
I think your portal is where you've got to kind of continue, because Heupel's made that comment many times. We want to win, and we want to win now. They're impatient too.
Mustard and biscuit.
Couple things, Alex. I guess first off, when y'all have been happy with buy-in from the guys, or at least you told us you've been happy with buy-in from the guys since you've been here. But when you go on the road to play an SEC game and you put up 62 points, and it maybe could have been even more than that, do you sense from the players that they get this now, that they feel like this is what can happen if they execute this offense?
Yeah, it's obviously easier when there's a result that can sign off on what you've been preaching. Me personally, I have preached nothing but our process of how we get there. If you're result driven, especially you're building a program virtually from scratch with a slimmed down roster, and those are all excuses, and we can talk about it and write about it. We have who we have, and we have to teach, in a lot of ways, a lot of young guys at a bunch of different spots. We have to teach them what the process looks like to win, what a winner's process looks like. And the result of it, the end result, you can't control. All we can control is our process about how we go our daily business, how we wake up, how we go to breakfast, how we get treatment, how we watch film, how we show up at practice, the energy level we bring, our attitude, our effort, how after practice we go to treatment, we go to study table, when we go to sleep, how many hours of sleep we get, all of those things that you're teaching, specifically guys that have not played college football at this level. we've preached so much process driven things where the result will take care of itself.
Stream 85 plus channels.
Good Lord have mercy, man.
Hey, getting into that, what he just said right there, you think back to the comments from Danny White when he was looking for a coach and what the leadership team that he met with said that they needed. They needed leadership. They needed that sense of, family and team. And I think they needed guidance because they weren't getting that. They weren't being developed. They weren't getting coached. They were just getting thrown out on the field to go play.
Well, and when you talk about buying in, when you put 60 on a conference opponent, it's way more easy to go into the film room and say, hey, guys, look, this is what happens when you buy in. This is what we can be, right? It makes it way easier. And I talked about that a little bit this morning because I was talking about, the trap game and all that stuff. And people come at us for making comments. And it doesn't matter what any of us say. It doesn't matter what the three of us say. It doesn't matter what anybody in this comment section says. It doesn't matter what anybody says on Twitter, on Facebook. It's up to the team. That's it. If you're going to overlook South Carolina, that's on you. It doesn't matter if Boogie Bentley on Twitter says the Vols are going to hang 70 points on South Carolina. It's all up to Coach Heupel, his coaching staff, and his players to stay focused. And it doesn't matter. All the outside noise, none of that matters. We can say and do whatever we want as fans. If the players get distracted by that, that's on them. It all comes down to the coaches and the players dialing in, believing in what you're doing, staying focused, and competing every single Saturday.
Yeah, and they keep alluding to the 48 hours. I think it showed this past week about they were dialed in on it. They're going to have to – that was one of the things I said at the end of my video on Sunday is I want to see how they respond this week after they have drilled a conference opponent. Do they get the big head? I don't think they will. Hopefully one win and they're not thinking they've conquered the world. I think they'll be humble about it, knowing where they've been, where they're going. But, I think they'll be focused. I think they'll be ready to go this week. And I think the crowd will be a bit more into it this week as well, coming off that win. I think you'll see some more fire. And I don't think the players nor the fans, nor the coaches, I don't think anybody wants to lose South Carolina. So they'll be ready to go this week. Like you said, you throttle somebody like that opens some eyes.
I've kind of followed up what you talked about there, how they follow up this blowout win. How do they follow up a blowout loss? They answered the bell.
Yeah.
That's almost more important to me because, in the video I made this morning, I went back and talked about last year. What happened at halftime of that Georgia game? What changed? And they come out and they get blown out, and they were never the same after that. They could have easily done that same thing after that Florida game because it wasn't as bad, very similar. Went into the locker room. It was still a game. Come out second half, get blown out. How did they respond? They come out and they hang 60-plus points on Missouri. So to follow you up there, Indy Kid, how do they answer? How do they answer after a blowout of a conference opponent? Do they come out ready to go to work against South Carolina? Evan Counts with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Evan. We appreciate it. Says, if anything is for sure, since you can stream up to 85 channels on YouTube TV and get your first week for free. Yes, courtesy of Rocky Top Insider, you get those ads.
Saturday, everybody's writing that we're this running football team that's executing at a high clip. The Saturday before, we scored 14 points. And I'm not preaching. If you are result driven, it's going to be up and down every week, especially with a young team, especially with a bunch of guys that haven't played. So for us, it is all about process and all about how you go about your daily business. What happens on Saturday at noon has nothing to do with what what plays we call, what their defense is. It has everything to do with the lead up to it. And again, I know I sound like I'm preaching, and I'm really not. That is literally how we go about our daily business. And the end result is the end result. The defense presented us with the ability to run the football. We ran the football on Saturday. Whatever the defense presents us, we're gonna do our very best to attack their weakness. But in terms of how we've preached and having to sell what we're doing, the guys have bought in, because if the ones that didn't buy in are not here. And there's still a couple that young guys that have no idea how they fit, figuring it all out. And our job as coaches is to get those guys in the fray and buy in and find roles for them. And for some of them, that may be redshirting. For some of them, that may be scout team. But for us to have to validate what you're doing to the guys, how you treat them, how you talk to them, how you coach them, how you love them every day, that's where the buy-in comes from. The end result, like if you live on end results all day, you're going to have gray hair. I'm starting to get gray hair, but you can't live on the end result. The end result takes care of itself. And in elite programs, the process is right. From January 28th to today, all we've cared about is our process of how we prepare. Because if you prepare like a winner, you win, generally. If you prepare like a loser, you lose. So that's been our I don't know, mantra, whatever. I'm not a slogan guy, but that's been our call to them, is how do we get them to perfect their process and everything we do. We are nowhere near where we should be yet.
How can you not love this guy? How can you not listen to him talk and talking about we have to find a way to get the guys that aren't involved, whether that's scout team, whether that's this or that. How do you not love that guy? What a great press conference. Like, Alex Golesh gets it. He gets it.
I think it makes sense with the people asking about Hyatt. Hyatt's going to be fine. Yep. He's had a rough. I think he was a little overhyped. There was not a lot of buzz about him in fall camp, and I made mention of that. I was like, we're not hearing about him. I'm not surprised, and he's going to be fine.
He's young.
I'm not disappointed in him. But they made comments this week about how they have kind of shrunk that wide receiver rotation, how it's more compact now, because you're basically looking at Vols, you're looking at Peyton, and you're looking at Tillman as kind of your main three guys there. It's just young guys. You got to think these young guys, man, they don't have a lot of experience. And no, I think Hyatt's just a classic case of your overhyped young guy. And I don't mean that any disrespect on it. I just don't know if he was ready to step up and be he was overhyped this year. I just don't think he was ready to be that number 1 or 2 guy like people thought.
And it's fine because guys are stepping up and they're fit. Velus Jones, Javonte Payton, Cedric Tillman, those guys are stepping up. It's fine. It's fine.
And I think a lot of that was based off of a couple of plays in the Alabama game.
You see the big play potential.
Getting behind some NFL talent defensive backs, and not just getting behind. I mean, he toasted him. He was 5 yards separation on those plays. So it was a lot of potential and looking forward, and it's just not been there. And I think teams have been playing tighter press coverage on him, and he's a young guy who needs to get a little bit stronger and learn how to get off of that press coverage and get some separation. Teams aren't going to just let him blow by him now.
Yeah, and I good gosh, I just meant for now. Hyatt was overhyped coming into this season. Okay, I thought I said he's going to be fine.
Oh no,
I don't know. No, not towards you. It was a comment, but about it. It's he's going to be fine. He was over. There was not a lot of buzz about him in fall camp.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, Wayne. I live an hour from where he's from. Okay. I know Wayne, but I know what he played in. I'm saying at the current point in time. He's going to be fine down the line. He's going to be fine down the line. But for right now,
it's similar to Byron Young.
Yeah.
Byron Young is going to do great things at Tennessee. But right now, he's a little behind.
Here's the thing. I'm excited for any of these kids that are actually being coached up. You look at the potential. It feels like home up here.
That's what happens when you show up late. Throws off the entire show. Let me go back. Let me get, we got some super chats here. Sling Blade. Somebody went and changed their name. Sling Blade 75 for 10. I reckon I like the way the fellas playing football right now. Thank you for that super chat, Sling Blade. We appreciate that. John Cunningham for 5. Just throwing some support y'all's way. Thanks for what you do. We appreciate that, man. Thank you for that tip, for that super chat. And thank you for showing up. Like, that's all we ask you guys to do. If we appreciate the super chats, but if not, just show up, hit that thumbs up. If you hate us, hit the thumbs down. I don't care. If you show up every week and you watch every video, but you still hit thumbs down, that's cool, because the 3 of us are still winning. We're still winning when you do that. So it's all fine. It's all good. It's all fantastic. Make them love you. Make them hate you. Just don't be irrelevant. That's all that matters. Let's get into some predictions. We're this is overtime. We're 11 minutes past the hour, still hanging out, having a good time, watching the press conference, just hanging out with 300 of our closest friends. Let's get into some predictions for this South Carolina game on Saturday. I'll go first because, as always, I dropped the scouting report on Monday. I've already dropped it, already given my prediction, so I'll kind of just blow through it here. You know, South Carolina's offense, they beat Troy 23-14 last week, and they were sloppy, man. 10 penalties, 93 yards, had a couple of fumbles, had a lot of drops from their wide receivers and their running backs. They had a 58-yard fumble return for a touchdown, but decided to put the ball on the ground on the 1-yard line. Rolled through the back of the end zone, ended up being a touchback for Troy. Just a lot of mental mistakes, but this don't get it twisted. The South Carolina defense, they are good. They play aggressive. They've got a good defensive line. They force a lot of turnovers. They also play Beamer ball. You know, Shane Beamer, just like his daddy, plays Beamer ball. They've got 3 blocked punts already this season. I just don't think they can hang with Tennessee. If Hendon Hooker comes out, he protects the football, he plays efficient. I saw a lot of people in the chat asking about Cooper Mays. I don't think he plays on Saturday. Curious to see if Jabari Small wraps it up, tries to go. Honestly, I don't think it matters. I think this Tennessee defense is going to stuff the run. They're going to make South Carolina be one-dimensional. They're going to make them throw the football. I like Tennessee in this game. I like Tennessee's offense in this game. I'm going Vols 38, South Carolina 21. I think it's going to be a comfortable Saturday once again. What do you got, Indy Kid? And encourage you guys to put your predictions in the chat as well.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll go once again 34-17 Vols. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe South Carolina surprises us. I think they are what they are. I don't think they got the offense to hang with Tennessee, and South Carolina's not seen an offense like Tennessee's either. If they're clicking on all cylinders. I think the orange rolls on Sunday. And who knows, maybe even Jalen Hyatt will make everybody a play this week. So,
I don't know how to follow that up. I think if I'm looking back at my notes from last week, I'm pretty sure. Andy Kid, you had 31-14 last week, so you're saying
there we go. I'll stick with that 31-14. There we go.
All right. I also hope that I'm proved wrong again. I went with my same score from last week. I said 31-20 Tennessee, and I hope that they double up my score again. I think the offense is going to be rolling. We've seen, I think, the emergence of the running backs and this rushing attack. And I think Hooker comes out, and I think that he is going to continue to be efficient, and he's going to continue to be what we've seen. Get the ball down the field, pick up yards, put the team in good position. I would love nothing else to see this team not have to punt the ball again.
Yeah, I could live with that. I'd be down with that. If you're listening to this video after the fact, after we go off air, drop your predictions in the chat below. We would greatly appreciate that. Let us know who you think, what you think the score is going to be. Also, you can support the channel. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. Pick up all the Talkin Vols merchandise. Any and all support greatly appreciated. You can see there the retro Vols, everybody's favorite, the state pride merchandise. We got the new flat bill hats. We've got toboggans, Diamond Vols merchandise, everything you could possibly want. Any and all support greatly appreciated. If not, just hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Join us. We'll be live immediately following the game. No tailgate show this week again because it is a 12 o'clock kickoff. But I'm going to go ahead and guess that for that Ole Miss game, we'll probably do a tailgate show. If I'll just put it out there. We're going to do it. We're going to do a tailgate show. But like I said, drop your predictions into the chat. But that is going to wrap it up for this one. He's Dauber. He's the Indy Kid. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like me, poets